This is going to be for MYOOZE.com,
Okay.
and you can share it and you can have it. And it's just a little like, hey, you're in Brazil. What are you up to?
What are you doing
How's
here?
Work? What are you doing here?
Cool.
Babe, like casuals. And anything you want to talk about,
Okay.
anything that you're working on, just usual stuff.
I'll let you do
I'll
the
just-
questions and I'll just chat.
Yeah, it's a chat. It's a conversation.
I can chat.
basically. Back this way. We rolling? We're rolling. So you are Jacques Cousteau.
Yes, I am
That's
actually
you.
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Yes.
Amazing. So how's the new album?
I'm learning to sing now. Actually, I think I should change my name to Jacques Dion.
Jacques Dion.
Celine Cousteau. People say, oh, Celine, like Dion. Oh, Cousteau, like Jacques. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jacqueline Dion.
But you're amazing. We know that.
Thank you.
I have to go on after you, which is probably the worst case scenario ever. You rocked it. Your message is just so honest and pure.
Thank you.
And what you're doing is amazing, and I'm a big fan. How do you do it? Like, you're a mum, you're in the Amazon, you're rocking like this most beautiful, glowing energy. Everything about you is perfect. How do you become perfect? What's the secret?
Well, that's a great introduction, except it's very hard to sort of live up to that. I think you do things one bit at a time. I have a tendency of wanting to do everything at once. So it actually, maybe I present as if I have everything together and it's very organized, but there's a lot of chaos that happens. My mind is chaotic with so many different ideas and plans and thoughts and projects that I want to work on. What I've learned is to be patient. I've learned to also take one project, not necessarily at a time, but follow through with one project. A friend of mine said, Celine, don't try to eat the whole elephant at once. Eat it one piece at a time. So I'm learning to do that and to prioritize. Now that I'm going to be a mom in a couple of months, I have to prioritize, and I want to prioritize that, because that's also an example, I think, of what I can do for other people, is to say aim for something and go for it, follow through with it. It's not important to say I want to do this and I'd like to do that. The important part is the follow through. And if I can't lead by example, then what am I doing?
Do you think becoming a mum, which is amazing, by the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you think, are you expecting your sense of kind of urgency and your sort of responsibility to suddenly increase because you are bringing this person into the world? Everyone says, oh, there's a huge sense of overwhelming protection that happens the moment the baby is born. You just want to do anything possible. Do you think that's going to make you busier then? Do you think you're going to be super inspired to keep on doing what you're doing further and push the limits further? Does that worry you, excite you?
Well, what worries me is I'm dealing with it on, thank you, I'm dealing with it on a lot of different levels. I actually truthfully didn't know if I wanted to have children for a lot of different reasons. One, because of the lifestyle that I do have, the amount that I travel, the places that I go to are not always very children friendly, middle of the Amazon with malaria and hepatitis and other things. But it was also because of the state of the world that it's in didn't give me a lot of hope to think, do I want to bring up a child in this kind of environment, literally and figuratively, where we're constantly battling to have a healthy planet, to have a healthy ecosystem, to have healthy humans. Now that I've made the decision to be a mother and have a child, it reinforces what I'm doing in a very positive way. I think that we all need to head in that direction. But how do you pass this kind of understanding on to people who don't really understand it? And not to separate genders, but it's hard for men to really fully understand what it is to create life. I have this complete awe of what women have done.
That's why we're so good at taking it away. That's why men are so aggressive and we have this stupid ego.
Maybe.
More.
But I think, but there's a lot of sensitivity there as well, and I think that not all men are created equal, not all women are created equal. But the idea of creating life is pretty awe-inspiring in a way. And if anything, it inspires me to do my work even more so. I don't know how I'm going to feel when he's actually here and I'm holding him and going, oh my God, like here's this human life that I am responsible for. I already feel that responsibility. It's going to slow me down a little bit, but I think that just a little for a couple of months.
Day or two.
Or day or two, and then I'm back on the job.
But you mentioned a really good point. It's Mother Nature.
Yeah.
It's female energy. Everything in any kind of report that I've ever read with development or with sustainability, everything points to increasing female presence in positions of power, in empowering girls, the girl effect, the woman effect, the Mother Nature effect. Why is it not happening? Like, I know
it's a complicated.
I mean, do you think like how do we solve that?
I think a couple of things need to change. One is our mindset. When we see women in power and they are as aggressive in what they are saying and their messaging, when they are as aggressive as men, we discount them. We say, oh, look at that woman. Why is she so aggressive? Why is she so this? Why is she? You would never say that of a man in that position of power. I mean, take Hillary Clinton, for example. She gets accused of being certain things that a man using her same method and her same words would never get accused of, because we are perceived as supposed to be more feminine, supposed to be more sweet. Why is that? So we have to change a whole mindset when it comes to that. I think also it depends on culture, David, is that there's a lot of cultures that really respect the female figure, a lot of it in animals. I mean, take the orcas, for example. They're matriarchal cultures. They follow the matriarch. The female determines the fate of the pod, the fate of the family. We need to think more in that way. We understand this life creation, but I don't think it's out of the reach of men at all.
You're someone who's inspiring. You inspired, many tens of thousands, millions of people with your films, your documentaries, all the stuff that you do. If you're a young girl or boy, and you've seen the work, how do you do what you do? How do you start? Because fear is kind of built into us now in the education system. Yeah. It seems the education system is teaching us not to dream. It's telling us what we can't do rather than what we can do. So how, when everything is pointing against, sort of creating more inspiring individuals, more muses like you, how do you go about it? How did you do it? And what advice would you give to somebody if they're just wanting to take this path?
One of the things I try to do is talk to university students, because they're just on the cusp of going out into the quote real world and doing something. And I do get that question, how do I do what you do? It's like, well, wait a second, I folded jeans at the Gap before I did what I'm doing. I flipped burgers in a restaurant. You have to bide your time as well. I didn't just arrive in this place, but I was born with a name that helped me move this forward. And the point is not being born with that name. The point is, what do you do with that? And I think that that's in the power of everybody, is you are given something at birth. Those, and I'm going to say those who are privileged, are given something at birth that they can utilize as a tool, whether it's a specific intelligence. Dancers, artists, musicians, they can utilize that intelligence, which should be valued as an intelligence, to make change. But that depends on each one of us to take whatever it is that we have and apply it to something meaningful beyond ourselves. The big problem, I think, with communities is that we don't have communities anymore. We are so funneled into becoming individuals. We sit in front of our computers, our iPads, our iPhones, and we close ourselves off to the world. To do what? To join communities like Facebook, which are these virtual online communities.
Boxy house, boxy car, boxy office, eat our food out of a box.
Because we don't have communities anymore. We don't feel like we have a bigger family. So what happens? You get forums like this, we get together, we all feel good because we feel like we're part of a community, but that sense of community is what drives us. So I think, to go back to your question, girls should get together with other girls and to find that sense of community and empower themselves to move forward. Somebody who wants to do what I'm doing. You could be a doctor and do what I'm doing. It doesn't have to, it's not a direct path. I studied psychology, intercultural relations. I didn't study filmmaking, but I found that my passion and my ability was in storytelling. So I followed that path. I learned how to use a camera by taking up a camera and starting to use it and giving that to other people. And I think that's the important part, is just learn who you are, what you're passionate about, apply it, and go.
I don't want to keep any longer because I'm worried I don't want to have the birth and everything happen right now.
David, I've got 2 more months to go.
You never know. You never know. Like crazy Brazilian weather and all the excitement of the forum and in the trees and nature here.
These are great, aren't they?
It could be like a little baby thing, and I would have to, like, I don't know, it would be weird.
I think we should turn the camera on David and see why he's so worried about this.
I'm still confused on how it all happens.
I know. So it'll become a human.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, you are an amazing inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for being here.
Really appreciate it. I'm gonna grab that back. I'm not gonna touch.
You're so funny. You're like.
Husband says he's gonna beat the shit out of me. He's like, those are mine.
Hey, you don't have to worry about me. She's the feisty Frenchman.
I know, he's like the laid back cool guy, and I'm like, listen.
Hey.